Hey guys, welcome. Me and my kitty here. Um, Today we're going to be talking about cover letters or job application letters. So, for our assignment that is due in about a week, less than a week, you have to turn in your job advert, your cover letter, and your resume. Now, hopefully, you've already found your job advert and you've already started working on a draft of your resume. Um, I find that it's easiest first to find the job ad. Obviously, we need to know what we're applying for, and then we're going to move into um, working on our resume, and then from there we'll work on the cover letter. So we're going to go through this PowerPoint here together, and this will hopefully help you write that cover letter. Okay. Um, I will provide this PowerPoint on our Moodle as well. I'm not going to go through everything with this PowerPoint, but we'll go through some of the main key points here. Before you write this cover letter, you want to do a bunch of research into the company that you're writing this, that you're applying for. Think about if someone didn't have any knowledge about this company, and then if someone who had a lot of knowledge about this company, it would be very different. They would know exactly what they needed to say to get the job if they know a lot about the company. And so the more research you do about the company and the position you're applying for, the more likely you are to get the job. But you also want to gather your own personal information. This can be helpful in designing your resume as well. You could get out a physical piece of paper and just write down everything that you've ever done. Just start going through in any way you can, and just list all of the volunteer work, all of the internships, all of the clubs you've ever been in. Anytime you've done any kind of thing with, school contests, anything like that, right? You want to gather as much information you can, and then start working on an outline. And then you write the letter, and we'll talk about how to organize it and things like that. But remember that this is a process. And so you're not just going to write the letter and it's done. Then you have to proofread, you have to edit, you have to revise. You might have other people look at it and read it to you. Reading it out loud versus just reading it inside your head can also help. So make sure you're practicing those components. So we're going to go through the 6 main components of a cover letter here. First, we have the heading. And you've hopefully seen this in the chapter in technical communication, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. If you don't, you should be able to find the recipient's contact details. If you turn in a cover letter and it doesn't have the contact details because you couldn't find it, and then I look on the website and I find it easily, then that will be a problem. You'll lose some points, okay? But if their information doesn't exist online on their LinkedIn account or on the company account, then you wouldn't put it, right? You would just put maybe their email and their name instead, and their position and the company name. If you don't even know who will be reading this, then you could put Dear Hiring Committee or Dear Office Manager, something like that. MS dot is a good one if you want to use like a non-gender specific title. So this is the format, the pattern that I want you guys to follow. Do you have to follow this pattern when you're writing every cover letter? Not necessarily. For this assignment, though, I would ask you to all follow this format. It's a good format to try out. If you decide in the future that you don't like it, you can try something else. But I find it pretty straightforward, pretty understandable. And we're going to break up into these 4 sections. Statement of intent, saying, I'm applying. This is why I'm applying. Overview of qualifications is sort of why you deserve this job. Professional objectives is a little bit about the company itself and why they are so great and why your professional goals work together with them. And then the action plan of just saying, please consider me for this position. And so statement of intent, you're applying. Why are you writing? What position you're applying for, maybe where you saw the job posting. I believe there's an example of a cover letter in technical communication. Check that out. If you're a student, you're welcome to mention that. It's not required. I'm not requiring it, but it could be helpful. It's a small paragraph, that statement of intent paragraph, right? The biggest are the middle two here. These are the body paragraphs. So this is where you explain your qualifications, why you are the candidate for this job. Now, we'll go into this in a little bit more detail in a second. Okay. Then the next section is why this company? What is it about this company that you like enough to apply and work there? Now, this is, you want to make sure not to just say, this company is awesome, I love this company. It's not about just talking about how awesome the company is, because they already know how great their own company is. And so you want to avoid telling them what they already know, because they already know it way better than you. But if you find a way to talk about how great the company is in connection to yourself and how it connects to you, then that's much better. All right. And so you want to find a way to talk about how great, so if it's an internship and you're going to be working with a master at electron microscopes, I don't know, I'm making stuff up here, and you yourself have a lot of experience with electron microscopes, but you also really respect this great person in the field, you can talk about how great this person is in connection to your own interests and desires to continue and better yourself professionally in this way. Does that make sense? Now, some additional notes in these two sections. So the first section where you talk about how great you are, second section where you talk how great the company is. Don't just repeat details from your resume. This is particularly true for this overview of qualifications section. Okay. You don't want your cover letter simply to be an essay version of your resume. You want your resume and your cover letter, there's going to be similarities. Obviously, they're about the same person, you, hopefully, but there should be differences. So one thing that I think people like, this isn't required, but it is a helpful thing, is stories. So if you can find a way, let's say hypothetically in the job advert, it says that one of the most important things for this job is having strong communication in a team. And maybe you have on your resume, you've written that you did an internship building water pumps for a company in a team. Well, what you could write in the resume, you're gonna talk about how you did that internship, right? But in the cover letter, here in this overview of qualifications section, you could explain how at one point in this internship, you guys had some issue with the building the water pump on the CAD system on your computer, and how you overcame that through communication could be an interesting story. It's not required, but you see how in your resume you mentioned that you did this thing, you had this internship, but in your cover letter you explained a story about how you learned team communication skills and how you have those abilities. You worked as a team and you used communication to overcome some kind of problem. That would show, oh wow, that they do actually have this talent. Now that's only if they mention it, that they want it in the advert, right? If they don't want that talent, then that's not so important. Okay. So can you mention the exact same things? You can, but you want to do it in a different way. And there should be a deeper reason. There should be a reason behind why you're doing that thing. Okay. All right. Yeah. So just don't just repeat stuff from a resume. And so you might withhold certain details in your resume to focus on more on your cover letter, or you might just go into further detail in your cover letter than you did in your resume. Don't focus on negative things. So if you see a glaring issue in your resume, maybe you have a time gap or low scores or not so much experience, don't point at it. If you point at it in the cover letter, if you mention, I don't have much job experience because of this, don't say that, because maybe your reader won't notice it, maybe they won't even see it, but be prepared to talk about it in an interview. So if you have this lack of experience, don't bring it up in the interview, but if they ask you about it, have a prepared way to put a positive spin on it. But in our cover letter, you want to focus mainly on the positives, okay? And then the conclusion, just reaffirm your interest. This is where you're going to maybe state some kind of next statement of, I'm available for interview, or please consider me for this position. The time when they can contact you, something like that. And then you're going to end with a sign off like, thank you, sincerely, best, regards. Then you leave a couple of spaces. I think it's 4 single-spaced spaces, and then your full name. You type enclosed if there are other documents. We're not really going to worry about that. So if you do that or not, I don't care. Either way. If you have the software to add a digital signature in between the closing thank you or best and your full name, then great. If you want to leave it blank, then that's okay too. But it could only help your grade to add a digital signature. Just do it correctly. Put it between those two things. All right. Then I have some other final points here. Like I said, proofread, please go through for grammar. This assignment has a little bit more weight of grammar on it than the other assignment. Make sure you're spelling names correctly. Remember to name your file correctly. If you name the file that you turn in just cover letter, when your potential employer gets 50 cover letters and they download them onto their computer, and yours is titled cover letter, they don't know who you are. So put your name in it, in the name there, okay? This is just extra information if you're emailing this potential employer. You're not emailing me, you're submitting this directly to our Moodle link, all right? Alrighty, guys, good luck on your cover letter. Let me know if you have any other questions. By now, you should start working on your cover letter, start drafting putting something together, and then making sure that you're continually going back to the job ad to see what the job ad is asking for. By the time you turn in this assignment, you'll have read the job ad 20 times, okay? Make sure you're continually looking at the job ad and seeing what it's asking for. Make sure you're continually looking back at your resume to make sure you're not saying just the exact same thing that you said in your resume. And make sure also that your resume has information from what they want in the job ad. All right? Good luck, guys, and we'll talk to you later.